Hello, a few more jokes. A man wasn't feeling very good, so he went to his doctor for an examination. The doctor said, "Come back in a couple of weeks and I'll give you the results of the test." When the man returned, the doctor said, "I have some bad news for you. You only have a short time to live, about 9 months." The man was very concerned and asked, "What What would you do if you were in my place?" The doctor thought for a moment and said, "Number one, I would move to North Dakota. Number two, I'd buy a pig farm. And number three, I'd marry a widow with 8 children." The man thought about that and he said, "I don't understand, doctor. If I did that, would it make me live longer?" "Oh, no, it wouldn't. But those will be the longest 9 months in your life." An advertising executive with a tobacco company came across a 94-year-old man who had smoked 4 packs of cigarettes a day since he was 12. The old-timer seemed to be in excellent health. "We're getting ready to film some commercials," the ad man told him. "I'll pay you $10,000 if you'll agree to let us put you in some of them." "Sure," answered the old fellow. "When do you want me?" "Be at the studio at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning." "No good. I don't stop coughing until noon." One weekend, a man decided to call his mother in California because it had been quite some time since they had chatted. The son asked his mother, "How are you doing?" "Not too good. I've been very weak." "Mom, why are you so weak?" "Because I haven't eaten anything in 38 days." The son then asked, "How come you haven't eaten in 38 days?" "Because I don't want my mouth to be filled with food when you called." A defendant was on trial for murder. There was strong evidence indicating his guilt, but there was no corpse. In his closing statement, the defense attorney resorted to a trick. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I have a surprise for you all. Within 1 minute, the person presumed dead will walk into this courtroom." He looked toward the courtroom door. The jurors, stunned, all looked eagerly. A minute passed. Nothing happened. Finally, the lawyer said, "Actually, I made up the business about the dead man walking in, but you looked at the door with anticipation. I therefore put it to you that there is reasonable doubt in this case as to whether anyone was killed, and I must insist that you return a verdict of not guilty." The jury retired to deliberate. A few minutes later they returned and pronounced a verdict of guilty. "But how could you do that?" bellowed the lawyer. You must have had some doubt. I saw all of you stare at the door." The jury foreman replied, "Oh, we looked, but your client didn't." 3 businessmen from Toronto, who had never been out of the city, headed out into the wilds of the north on a hunting trip. Arriving in one small village, they inquired of a local the best way to hunt. "Why, you just look for animal tracks. When you find some tracks, why, you just follow them until you see the animal. When you find them, you shoot." The next day, the 3 novices headed into the woods, searching the ground intently for tracks, when one of them shouted from some distance away that he'd found some tracks. "Let's follow them and see what kind of animal it is." And it was while they were following the tracks that the train hit them. 3 amateur hunters on a foray into northern Ontario's big game country agreed before leaving camp that if they became separated, the call for help would be to shoot 3 times in the air. Naturally, they became separated and one of them got lost. And remembering the agreement, he shot 3 times into the air, but there was no response. He shot 3 times again, still no response. It was getting dark, and once again he shot 3 times into the air, and still no one came to his aid. Golly, he mumbled to himself, somebody better come along pretty soon. I'm running out of arrows. The young lawyer had just moved into his new office and was anxiously awaiting his first client. Just then he heard footsteps approaching down the hall, heading toward his office. Quickly, he slipped into his swivel chair behind the desk, picked up the phone, and began a conversation with nobody. Yes, the lawyer was saying. Well, I'm really quite busy right now, and I have to be in court this afternoon and again tomorrow morning. Then I have appointments with clients all tomorrow afternoon and the next day. He looked up to see a man standing at the door watching, then continued his make-believe conversation to make certain he impressed the man and to be certain, too, that he didn't appear to be a rookie. Perhaps, he concluded his telephone conversation, I can squeeze you in Saturday morning. Fine. Thank you. See you then. With that, he hung up the phone and turned to the man at the door. Now then, what can I do for you? Nothing. I'm just here to connect your telephone. Until next time.